morning, Port Discovery friends and fans of play, and welcome back to Pop-Up Playtime. I'm so excited to be hopping on live with you today. My name is Miss Kayleen, and as you can see, I've got a lot of things in front of me that we're going to get to play with because this week at Port Discovery, we are talking about bubbles. I am so excited. I love playing with bubbles. They're kind of magical. They're so much fun to experiment with and see what kind of mixes you can make and how big you can make your bubble. So we're going to do a little bit of experimenting today, which is really exciting. But before we get started, I thought we should sing a little warm-up song. Maybe we'll wait for a couple more friends to hop on with us, and we'll get to use our voices and get ready to play. All right, now my favorite warm-up song is If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands. So all you need is your smiling face, your singing voice, and your hands ready to clap, all right? So let's get started here. If you want to rub your hands together, you can. It's a little cold today. Did anyone else see a little bit of snow outside? There's just a little bit of snow where I live, but maybe in some places there's a little more snow. I haven't looked at the weather yet, but there's a little bit of snow where I live right now, so it's a little cold. So let's warm our hands up by rubbing them together. All right, and I think we're ready to sing. Are you ready? If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. All right, I need to move my feet to get ready to stomp my feet. Ready? If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. For the third one, let's shout hooray! Ready? If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! Yay! All right, so welcome my friends to Pop-Up Playtime. Like I said, my name is Miss Kayleen. I'm so excited to be here today. We've just had our wonderful warm-up song, and now we are going to get to our experiment today. We're going to do a little bit of science, and it's going to feel magical because we're talking about bubbles. I love playing with bubbles. Now, before we get started, I'm going to say a couple of things because if you want to do this at home, there are a couple of things that you should do to set up your space so that it's nice and clean and you don't slip all over the place like I've done. So I have with me a trash bag that I cut up because I don't have, like a, what is it called? Plastic tablecloth. If you have one of those, that works fine too. This works well. I just want to make sure I can clean up nice and easy. I'm wearing clothes that I don't mind spilling things on. I've got an apron on too. And I'm doing this on a hard floor instead of like a carpet or a rug. But all that's okay. This stuff is not going to stain, but I don't really want to spill as much as possible. Another thing you can do is play in your bathtub. Now remember, everybody's home is different, and that's okay. I don't have a bathtub. You might. You could do it in your shower though, or if it's a little bit warmer outside, you can do it outside too. That's probably the best place to play with bubbles, but it's too cold for me to do that today. I don't have a bathtub, so I'm going to improvise with what I've got, and I'm sure you can too. Now we can mix our bubbles. All right, I'm so excited. So what we're going to do is go over our ingredients. We're going to make two kinds of bubbles today, and we're going to use some alternative bubble wands. I don't have a real bubble wand at home, so I'm going to have to improvise, and we're going to see the best bubble I can blow. So I'm going to make 8 bubbles. So I have 4 things to try to blow a bubble with, and I've got 2 bubble recipes. So let's start with mixing our recipes. So there's going to be 3 ingredients in each one, and only one is going to be different, all right? So in our first one, we're going to have, I've already measured out a tablespoon of sugar, that's just granulated sugar. And in one, we're going to have 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. It's a little more tricky to see, but you can see it moving around in there. That's vegetable oil. Then we're going to have a ½ cup of water in each one, just regular tap water from your sink. And we're each one is going to have a tablespoon of dish soap. I've got Dawn, but other dish soaps work just fine too. So we're going to start mixing. So I'm going to start with the sugar. This is a tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to put it into my mixing Tupperware. This is just old Tupperware that, you know, I don't mind putting soap in, which is clean anyway. We're going to put in a half a cup of this. So I've got a whole cup here, so we're going to pour in a half cup of water. So this is going to go in with the sugar, and that sugar is already dissolved, which is really cool to watch. Let's add a little bit more. It's really helpful to have a measuring cup so you can see exactly how much. All right, that's a half cup of water, and we need 1 tablespoon of dish soap. So I've got my tablespoon here, and I'm going to pour it over my mixture that I already have. It's okay if it goes a little bit over, because the soap is what makes it super bubbly. All right, so I'm going to pour that in. I've also got a spoon to mix it up, so I'm going to scrape out as much of this soap as I can. I'm going to put it on top of my trash bag, and we're going to mix it up. So it's kind of hard to see, but you can see that the dish soap is taking a little bit of effort to mix together, but that's okay. It's fun to mix things, right? If you ever like to help in the kitchen with making a dessert like a cake or cupcakes or cookies, or maybe you help with regular cooking too, you know, it's super fun to mix stuff around. So I'm just going to do my best. It might not all completely dissolve with each other, which is okay. It's still going to work out just fine. I'm going to do my best to stop hearing so much of the sugar and make sure that it looks pretty blue. That looks pretty blue from the screen there. And I'm already starting to see bubbles, so I'm really excited to start blowing bubbles. All right, so I think that's good enough. That's gonna be recipe number 1 is sugar. All right, I'm gonna put my spoon on my trash bag, and let's mix recipe number 2. So this time we've got a tablespoon of vegetable oil. You can kind of see it moving around in there. I'm gonna pour it into my mixing container. All right, I'm gonna put that aside. Now we're gonna pour in the rest of the water here. So we're gonna pour it in nice and slow so I don't make a big mess. But it's okay if you get a little messy. That's why I'm wearing these clothes. I'm gonna put that aside, and we're going to do our dish soap. So again, I'm gonna pour it over my mixing bowl. All right, and we're gonna put that in there. I'm gonna put my soap aside, and we're gonna scrape it a little bit to make sure we've got as much soap as we can get. Right. And we're gonna mix again. Another fun thing you can do is sing a song while you mix. So do you want to sing, it's a little cold outside, any songs about cold? How about we sing Let It Snow? Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. So I'm noticing that this one is mixing a lot more quickly, which is cool. So when you do this at home, you can make these observations too to be a scientist. Scientists make observations like that all the time. Is it mixing more slowly? What does it look like? This one is not quite as, this one's a little more bubbly so far, and it's got kind of like a sparkly, I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit sparkly. And I think that's coming from the oil because that's the only thing that's different. All right, so I'm gonna put this down because that looks pretty well mixed up. And we're gonna talk about our experiment, and then we're gonna get started with our bubble blowing. I'm so excited. All right, so my friends, we've noticed that in each one we have dish soap and water. So out of 3 ingredients, 2 are the same in each one. Only one is different. This one has sugar, and this one has vegetable oil. Now what we've done here is we've created what scientists call a controlled experiment. So there's only one thing different, and that means that when we blow bubbles from each of them, we'll be able to see which ingredient, the sugar or the vegetable oil, is making better bubbles. That's really cool. So with everything else the same, we're going to see which bubbles are better. So if you're watching live or on the replay, tell me in the comments the bubbles you think are looking the best. Now, we're ready to blow some bubbles. I'm really excited. What I'm going to do, I said we're going to blow 8 bubbles. I'm going to try to use 4 different common household objects and see which bubbles come out the best. I'm gonna blow one bubble from each, or two, one bubble with each thing, makeshift bubble wand from each of the two of these. So I'll make two bubbles with the reusable straw from one bubble with the reusable straw from recipe A and one from recipe B. I'm trying to make sense here, but it's going to make sense. So the objects I have are a reusable straw, like I said. We're going to use a pair of scissors. This part kind of looks like a little bubble wand here. We're going to try out a funnel, so I'm going to put the bubble soap in this side and blow through the little end. And then my funnel also has this kind of cool thing. We're going to see what works the best, and that's really fun to experiment. So let's see, what are we going to start with? I think I'm going to start with the pair of scissors. So we're going to start with a pair of scissors. Let's start with bubble A, which has the sugar. So I'm just going to dip it in here. All right. So I see there's some bubble juice in there. Ready? Ooh, that was kind of fun. Let's try it again. Maybe I'll blow a little more than 8 because bubbles are just so much fun. Okay, ready? Ooh! Those are really cool bubbles. I'm noticing that they're pretty big. They didn't stay super long, but they were big bubbles and they were strong enough to come out of the scissors. That was really cool. All right, so I'm gonna wipe it off a little bit. My hands are gonna get wet and sticky, but that's okay. And let's try bubble juice B, or 2. So this one has the vegetable oil. All right, so I've got some bubble juice in there. Let's see how it's different. Uh-oh. So let's see, this juice might be a little bit weaker. So that was a bigger bubble, but it didn't come all the way out. Let's try one more time. Whoa, that was a really big bubble, but it didn't come out. So that's telling me this one might not be as strong. But let's see what happens next. So we've done our bubbles with our scissors. Let's try next the funnel. I'm really interested to see how this one works. So let's try B first this time. So I'm going to dip the funnel in. And I'm a little nervous how this one's going to work out, but we're going to try our best. I don't know. But that's good, right? Scientists are experimenting all the time. Ooh, okay, a little bit came out. It's kind of hard to get it all the way out, though. Wow, that was kind of fun. So it started to come out, but it couldn't quite close itself around to make the whole bubble. Let's try bubble juice A. I'm just gonna wipe it off a little bit on my trash bag here. Let's try this one, because we noticed this one might be a little bit stronger, so let's see what happens. You know what? I think it might just be the funnel. It's looking kind of the same to me so far, but let's try again. Whoa, one more time. Maybe not. I think the funnel is a little tricky, and it's because it's so big. So the scissors, we had a lot of a smaller circle, or slightly circle shape to fill. So the funnel's not working out so well, but that's a really cool thing to note. All right, let's put that aside. And let's try the reusable straw, the smallest. Well, maybe this is smaller. I think this is smaller, but it's got more of it. But let's try a reusable straw. I'm going to start with A this time. The straw is going to start with A. So I'm going to get it a little nice and wet here. That's another thing you can try. If your bubbles are not working out at first, it might just mean that whatever you're using needs to get a little more soapy. So let's try. Ooh, okay. So I'm getting a couple like little bubbles. So that looks like kind of the smaller little bubble vials you can get. That's what this reminds me of. Oh, that's really fun. I like these a lot. I know I said I would blow 8 bubbles, but we're blowing a lot more than 8 bubbles today. All right, I'm going to wipe this off on my apron. Didn't think of that, but that's probably a good idea. All right, and let's try bubble juice B. I'm calling it the sparkly one. Looks a little sparkly. All right, let's try. I got one bubble and it came fast straight out of the straw. So what I'm noticing is these ones come out a little bit slower, but there's more bubbles and they kind of stay for another second. This one seems like it comes out really fast and then it kind of falls heavy and is kind of done being a bubble. Did you see that? It came out really fast, but just kind of plopped down. All right, well that was really interesting. So this is a lot of fun. Let's do one more. I'm not sure how this one's gonna work out, so I saved it for last because it could be super cool or maybe not, we're gonna see. Let's try with Bubble Juice B first. Now this has got a bunch of little holes in it, so I'm just gonna blow. Whoa, that was really cool. Okay, let's try it again. See if we can get any of them to come off. Wow, that was awesome. It's kind of like a bubble train. We're making like a, what else? What other word could we use for that? Something long, maybe like a snake. This is really fun. I like this one. And I don't know if any of you have this at home, but using something like this might be really fun to experiment with, or maybe if you have like a spatula that has some smaller kind of holes in it. But this is super cool. So I'm going to wipe it off on my apron. And let's try it with Bubble Juice A. All right, let's see. Let's get it nice and wet here, and let's see what Bubble Juice A looks like. Whoa, that was cool. I think we got a couple more bubbles that time. Let's try it one more time. Wow, that was really going. And there's still bubbles on my trash bag, which is super cool. So that's telling me that maybe this one is a little more strong, but that was starting to happen with this too. So this might be a pretty effective bubble wand. Whoa. So it looks like these bubbles aren't as big, which makes sense because these holes are pretty tiny, but it's making this really cool bubble effect where we've got a whole bunch of bubbles and kind of stack on top of each other. As you can see, they're slowly starting to pop. Let's see if I can poke one. There they go. They're starting to pop just a little bit by a little bit, but this is super cool observation. If you have something like this at home, or you think you can make something like this at home, I think that would be really fun to play with and see if you can make this kind of bubble. I think that's my favorite. So let's go over what we did today. I think, and tell me what your favorite bubble was in the comments. My favorite bubble blower was definitely this one. As you can see, I was having a lot of fun with this. But I think that the scissors made the best overall bubbles. They were really big. This Bubble Juice B with the vegetable oil was a little bit weaker, I think, but Bubble Juice A let this really big bubble completely come off the scissors. Our funnel didn't work so well, but that's okay. And our straw made smaller bubbles and they came out really fast. So that was a really cool experiment. Remember, we just did a controlled experiment. Only one ingredient was different, and I think the sugar made the better bubbles over the vegetable oil. So I hope that you had fun watching this, and I hope that this has inspired you to make your own bubbles at home. You can use your own recipes, experiment. You could even put in food coloring and see if that makes a difference. Maybe make some colorful bubbles. But no matter what, I hope that you had fun here today, and I hope that you make some super fun bubbles at home and have a fun time experimenting. You can use other objects too, as long as there's some kind of circular or not so circular opening. I think you should try to make as many bubbles as you can, and let us know at Port Discovery what bubbles with the solution and your bubble wands work best for you. Thanks for joining us for Pop-Up Playtime, my friends. Keep checking back at Port Discovery on our Facebook page and our website for lots more fun coming your way, and I hope I see you soon. My name is Miss Kayleen, and have a bubble-tastic week, everyone. Bye!